Good day. This is once again the GSR Podcast. I'm your host, Angelo Zulueta, and we are once again joined by the Executive Director of GSR, Hitoshi Iemura-san.
Hello, everyone.
It's so good to have you again. And thank you as well for always tuning into our episodes. And today we'll be going over, as you can see, how to select the right property. Think of this as an amalgamation of everything that Iemura-san has taught us so far in the previous lessons, because if I'm remembering everything we've spoken about correctly, selecting the right property means taking everything into consideration, from the country, the macroeconomy, the microeconomy, and the needs of the client, right?
Yeah.
So in terms of all of the knowledge we've gone through so far, I don't think we've exactly talked in depth about specific client needs. So from your experience, Iemura-san, what are the qualities a client looks for the most when they're looking for property for, let's say, investment?
For investment. Okay. It's firstly is totally different perspective. So the property is not for just investment. Someone live, right?
True, yes.
So it's a totally different. So the people who wants to live, whatever you pick up your favorite one. No, don't worry about numbers.
All right.
Yeah. So place and location and quality of the building interior. So I just say you pick up what you like. Very simple.
Wonderful.
Simple,
perfectly simple.
Yeah, but for the investment purposes, it's the story is different. So we should focus on number. Yeah, maybe. But there are two type of indicator we should look at for the property investment. One is the income. The other is capital.
Okay.
Yeah, income or capital gain. Yeah.
Mm.
So which both important, but depend on the person which make heavy importance to those indicators.
All right. So by capital, you mean how much you can spend on the property?
Capital means increase the value.
Oh,
Increase the
okay.
value. Yeah. Income is kind
How
of
much
a
money it
monthly
can come
rent.
in?
That's
Okay.
sustainable. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so why don't we talk more about capital?
Capital.
Okay. So that implies that there are some properties that can generate lots of income but aren't so good with capital with capital gains. What are the markers of a property that show you that it will go up in capital gains well into the future?
Okay. So the important thing for capital gain, don't buy too much expensive one.
Okay.
Buy lower price, units or real estate.
Okay.
Meaning that capital gain means growth from now on, right? So even if the really good unit and real estate, but this property valued really high already. Maybe it might be a small space to increase.
Grow.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So, but the property or real estate, which is still in a low value, but they have a bright future in the next 5-10 years. Those kind of property has a bigger potentiality to grow, meaning that it could make a bigger capital gain. So, for example, of course, from the location point of view, Makati, BGC, center of those kind of CBD, excellent location. Everyone knows it. Yeah,
Because
it's good. From location perspective, this is perfect. Yeah, perfect. But from the value point of view, it could be already pretty high range of value. Of course, I think still, those kind of the properties located in the center of the big city still have a growth potentiality. But on the other hand, outskirts of Makati, BGC, very good access to the CBD,
Mm-hmm.
for example.
The central business
Yeah.
districts.
Yeah, fringe of the CBD.
Mm-hmm.
Value is much lower than center of the city. So in that case, those kind of property located outskirt could have more could have
Potential.
bigger potential to grow like that.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
to review, that means properties which aren't necessarily high valued, but even mid or low valued properties, as long as the potential for growth is there, or the markers of growth are there, that means that's what the clients can aim for if they're capital focused.
That's right.
So what about the inverse, or well, the parallel, where it's income focused? Does that mean clients would aim more for mid to high value properties since they're likely to generate income?
Yeah, generate income perspective, of course, location is really important because bad location, not good access for the work. Very few people
Will avail.
So, from the sustainable and stable income point of view, maybe the center of business district
Okay.
could be good.
Because the foot traffic there is high, and people do want to live there for work.
They want to live and work.
Okay.
So, but in that case, maybe price is already high.
True.
So maybe yield, return on investment, sustainable, which you have a chance to get a sustainable cash flow. Because many people wants to live in. So we have a tenant and getting a sustainable income, but maybe yield, return on investment, not really high. Maybe in my gut feeling, in the center of Makati, center of BGC, many tenants in the market.
True.
But yield is maybe in this moment 3, 4, 5% like that.
Yeah, it makes sense because the yield is high, but then the potential for growth is not as high. All right. So does that mean that for clients aiming for consistent income generation, that means they're aiming for more central business district properties, like deep in there, whereas fringe or outer properties, or even mid to low value properties with high growth, high potential growth, or good future plans, are what the capital based clients want. Okay.
So the good high value appreciation property. I think it doesn't necessarily be the Makati and BGC, for example, other place, like
Quezon City
or
Ortigas.
even Batangas. There are many places outside of
Metro Manila.
Metro Manila. Yes.
But as long as it satisfies the general, not to say requirement, but the general factor that it's close to the heart of a business district, that means it's likely that the income is going to be high. And it's favorable for income searching clients.
That's right.
All right. Okay, so we've covered one general part of location. Thank you so much, Iemura-san. Very insightful. I remember you and I talked a lot about infrastructure as one of the driving factors of growth.
Sure.
And you saying location is very important made me remember that. So could we go back to talking about infrastructure for the viewers?
Okay.
So what about infrastructure in a specific area or a country is a good sign of potential growth?
Of course, infrastructure, especially the transportation infrastructure, is very important for the value of the property. So I'm have a really big attention to the building of the railway system. In my experience in Japan, the property value near the railway station always going higher.
All right. So that means the potential for value is also like very, very high in areas near railways or places where railways are going to be built. That means, I guess, Batangas and Quezon City qualify now, right? Because they're going to have increased highways and railways there, right?
That's right. So there actually, I attended the event of the Department of Transportation yesterday.
Okay.
Yeah, so they have a lot of projects.
That's
Of
great.
course, they need to get a funding to proceed it, but there are many plans already in the Metro Manila and even outside of Metro Manila. Many. Yeah. So I always have a big attention. Where is the railway line alignment? Where is the location of the station? Because once this plan approved or accredited by the government and getting proper funding, then those properties near the station along the railway system must be going up. Yeah.
All right.
So potential, we can see the railway project plan in the website of Department of Transportation.
All right.
And private public PPP, public-private partnership office website. We can get. There are many public information about those railway system plan. So it is very important to see the future growth potentiality for the property.
Okay. So to all the viewers watching, please take a visit to the Department of Transportation's website and any other information that you can glean on future transport projects. Because as Iemura-san said, more often than not, any properties that will be near that area are likely to increase in value. And this is coming from somebody who has had a storied background over in Japan, whereas we know their railway systems are absolutely robust. Okay. How do you think clients feel these days about environmental sustainability? Because that's becoming a rising factor with buildings and properties. What are your thoughts on that?
Environment factor?
Mhm.
It's of course very important. So developer which are really sensitive for the environment protection. This is a good developer.
It's another good.
Yeah. So and I don't know much about the residential side of the environmental criteria, but for example, some of the office building have get accreditation from the international environment criteria.
All of the different green building.
Green building.
Yeah.
It's
another factor.
Yeah.
The location is still at the top.
Oh yes. And of course developer is also
True.
very
The
important.
reputation of the developers, no?
Reputation, track record, and of course their financial standing. Yeah.
So I remember also that we talked about developers. Correct me if I'm recalling this correctly, but I remember you mentioning that good developers have the ability to deliver on time, right? As well as, I guess, good building maintenance and standards, yeah?
Sure.
How do you feel about older buildings in the central business districts?
Older building?
Yeah.
It also depends on the developer. Good developers project maintain, you maintain well. So even old building like 10, 20, even 30, still building keep clean and keep good conditions. But bad developers, it's a big difference in Philippines actually. Even same 10 years old building.
But depending on the developer.
The B developer, totally.
Oh
different.
no.
Yeah. Sometimes 10 years old building is not old. Even in Japan, our recognition 10 years still young.
Wow.
Young building. Yeah. But sometimes in Philippines, only 10 years, but it looks like more than century or something like that. So it's a really important. So it's a good. I think if you buy the property, let's check this developer's previous project.
Okay.
10 years ago.
So that we can see how well they maintained their previous projects.
How do they well maintain? It's very important. Yeah.
All right. I like that. That's another factor that you can add to the prospects of looking at the right property. The history of previous projects from the developers. I'm sure that whether you're a capital-based client or an income-seeking client, that history is something that must be taken into account.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
All right. Why don't we talk about properties that you've selected? Do you have any specific stories about which properties you think were your favorite selections and which ones you feel were choices that made you learn hard lessons?
I don't say the specific name of that.
Okay, that's fine. We're neutral.
Even a big developer, everyone knows. Sometimes there's maintenance is not good, so it's like very bad. Yeah, only after less than 10 years after completion of the building.
Oh dear.
Yeah. But in my feeling, for example, Shangri-La, they maintain the building very well. Maybe Ayala, Premier, or Arbel is good. Rockwell, also good.
Ayala, Shangri-La, Vale, Rockwell. All right. 4 potentially wonderful leads, all with good maintenance records. That's very good information.
So you can see the maintenance condition by yourself.
True,
It's
just by
better-
looking
it's
at
better
the
to
areas.
check the previous project for each developer before buying.
All right. That's very interesting to take into account and really good information. Okay. Let me review everything that we've discussed so far, and then we can maybe take a little break afterwards. All right.
Okay.
So with clients, one of the most important things we have to check first is whether they're seeking potential return on investment, so they're capital aimed clients, versus income aimed clients who want to generate high amounts of income and ROI isn't as much of a priority. Would you say those are two sides of the same coin? Because property will have both capital potential growth and an income potential.
I see. It's a kind of a trade-off factors. So which
It depends
it's
on
hard
what
to
you
find.
need.
It's hard to find both indicators is really good. So
Okay.
which you take more importance.
Depending on the
depending
needs of
on-
the client.
That's better for choosing the
All right.
target
Okay.
property.
So depending on the needs of the client, you have to then check. One of the prime locations you can check for those clients, whether they want capital or income, are within the areas of central business districts due to all of the foot traffic. That means checking the central areas or the places where the business are most condensed for income-seeking clients versus possibly also considering the outer or even fringe areas for clients aiming for ROI.
So fringe area near the future infrastructure.
Infrastructure being an extremely important quality to look for as
And
well.
also important thing the property is in the master plan community or just a building. Usually the property in the master plan, like BGC. These BGC is a master plan property, right? So the property in the master plan usually get the value is getting higher than standard normal project.
Is that because master planned properties are more cared for by the areas they're in?
Yeah.
So taking note of the master plans of
Master
where
plan,
you're aiming.
But there
to
are
build.
not many developers who make a master plan to develop.
Because those are very large scale projects.
Most the developer who can do the master plan project, maybe a big player like Ayara,
Federal,
Megawatt, like that.
But anything within the master plan is another prime candidate for either type of client. Okay. What about properties that are near infrastructure but don't have but aren't exactly in the central business districts yet? Are those safe for capital seeking clients?
In my experience in Japan, even in suburb area, we have a criteria in Japan that 10 minutes, less than 10 minutes
from the station.
Yeah, from the station by walk.
Okay.
This is a very important criteria. The property located less than 10 minutes walk must be good, and value is going up. Yeah.
We tend to rely more on traditional. Well, no, not traditional, but I'd say that we're kind of split right now between jeepneys, tricycles, and our rail transport. But I'm sure once our rail transport develops, we're going to end up relying on it even more in the future.
Even in Philippines, in the future, the people walk to station and take a train and go to Makati, BGC, or somewhere else.
I'd really like to hope so. Having more walkable cities would be super wonderful, or just walkable areas.
It is more environment friendly and good for good lifestyle. So walking distance from the station, meaning that the 10 minutes.
Okay, 10 minutes is the golden amount of time.
In the case of Japan, we know the problem. 10 minutes walk within or out is very important. Maybe Philippines
5 to 7.5 minutes because it's super hot.
Maybe Philippines less than not 10 minutes, maybe 5 or a direct connection to the station.
Like the malls or the condominium units that have
direct connection. So you don't need umbrella even if it's
true.
In Japan, there are some this kind of condominium direct connection to the station. This is very popular.
Very popular and also very high value, no?
High value.
What's the rent like for condos there compared to other units? Like how much is like the average monthly rent in direct condos compared to others? Do we have ballpark numbers for that?
I don't have a statistic number, but they could get I think maybe 20 at least 20% more
than
other property in the neighborhood.
So that's if we're going for, let's say it's in a central business district like BGC or Makati, average rent there's like 25 to 30 for a one bedroom. That's 20 to 30% more, maybe 40k pesos, 45k. That makes sense for the convenience. Okay. And then finally, we also have the history of the developers to take note of, because if the developer is reliable, then even older buildings can still be viable for your client needs. And also, finally, if you're doing for end use, just pick whatever you like. All right. Okay, that's been absolutely wonderful knowledge so far. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Okay, we'll be back in a couple of minutes for us, and however long the infomercials last for you guys. So see you guys in a bit. For all of your property needs, come to Global Strategy Real Estate, GSR. We at GSR are your one-stop shop for anything related to your property and more. From management to buying, selling, documentation, and maintenance, we have your back. At GSR, we aspire to provide the level of quality and service which put Japan on the map as one of the hallmarks of hospitality. Let us manage your property today. Hello, we're back from our small break. Thank you so much again for having us here in the GSR podcast, and thank you again so much, Iemura-san, for your time. All right, let's see if we can just cover everything that we've learned so far throughout our talks together. For real estate, location is the most essential thing. Yeah.
Location.
Location. And why?
Second, fourth, fifth, maybe developer. Location, and developer.
Okay, so 4 factors: location, and developer. Now, why is that?
Yeah.
One, that's the location of your countries because of the macroeconomic and microeconomic situation. Iemura-san had another talk on this, on the economic status of a country and how the Philippines is one of the leading countries in the Southeast Asian region and how we're basically a very safe choice for investors right now. I won't elaborate too much on that. You'll have to check the other episode. Number 2, location. Why? Because of the infrastructure or if the area is a central business district. Because if your area is in a central business district or you're developing your future infrastructure, capital and income factors are very high. Finally, location. Do you like it? If not, why are you even buying it? And then finally, we have developer. So developer being the history of the developer.
Yeah, history and
the reliability.
most important thing is track record. So you can check the track record.
So how do we check, or what are the things that we check for the developers? That's the old buildings, the new buildings, how on time the buildings are, whether or not the buildings were delivered, and basically how they're being maintained to this day, which is another very important thing that we also talk about with Sir Ian. Please go ahead and check those episodes out. Is this a shameless plug? I'm sorry. Okay, so that's location, and developer. Did I miss anything, or is that everything?
Yes, real estate is really, I think, really simple, rather than stock investment and others. Location and developer, especially in Philippines. Because Philippine macroeconomic situation of Philippines still high growth stage. So meaning that buying the property point of view, Philippines is still, I feel, blue ocean rather than red ocean. So many people can have a good, available to buy a good property. So no need to do the complicated things. Just see location and developer.
All right.
Only two factors.
On that topic, I remember you saying the best time to start with your investment and the best time to start with your research is always now. Right?
Always now. Yeah, of course, always now. Yeah.
All right. You heard
especially in Philippines, because Philippines is growing economy, right? So whenever you start the investment, the trajectory is like this. So whenever you start, you have a chance to get a growth. You can get a growth. So yeah, important thing is start quickly, start earlier.
All right. And even if you don't have the starting income to start right now, that's not stopping you from researching everything that we just said. Look up the developers that you like. Look up the places that you like, the central business district. Once again, apparently the Department of Transportation, as well as other publicly available materials are out there, so you can map out the future infrastructure that's going to be spreading out all throughout the Philippines. Armed with that knowledge and armed with understanding the wants and needs of your client, whether they're income-based or they're property-based, capital-based, or both of them, balancing out the two, then I guess the world is your oyster. Okay. Yeah, thank you again so much, Iemura-san.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, everyone.
Now, before we go, I must once again plug our socials because, of course, if you want to watch the episodes I mentioned, how are you going to find them? You can follow us on social media at the Linktree QR that's going to be posted here, or at GSR Philippines in general. Our website is www.gsr-ph.com. Again, that's www.gsr-ph.com. This podcast episode, as well as the previous podcast episodes and future ones, are not just available here, but on Spotify, Apple Music, and YouTube Music as well. Also, for all of the Japanese viewers out there, this is Iemura-san's book. Please go ahead and buy it, as it provides wonderful insights into both the landscape of Philippine real estate that he discussed below and more, as well as general micro and macroeconomic principles that can carry over into any of your business dealings. So yeah, that's been us, and we'll see you again next time. Bye for now.
Bye.